the camera a wee bit more, just so you get a bit close up on that. So let's just have a wee look here first and make sure everybody can sort of see okay what's going to be happening.
I forgot to say, Kelly, that I'm just making a wee recording of this, just so that anyone who wants to look back on it afterwards, we will send it to you, anyone who's participating today.
Okay, yeah, that's great. That's great. Just down a wee bit more here so you can get kind of a closer up as much as possible. Okay, just got to go back a wee bit. So we're starting with a wreath that the most basic wreath I could get, artificial wreath, and this one costs about £5. Still adjusting here. There we go. I've seen them for anywhere from 4 to 20 actually for just a basic wreath. Some of them will have wee pine cones or berries on them already. And what I'm going to use today is wire. And the reason why is that wire, when you're a beginner, I know some of you may have done a wreath before, but some of you may not have done a wreath before. And the benefit of using wire rather than a glue gun is if you get some placings wrong with wire, it's so easy to move them. Whereas if you're using a glue gun, you're having to pull that off and you can do some damage. The glue gun sticks so good. I love glue guns, but for beginners, I thought I would just use wire because it's easier to learn and you can adjust things. So, and just a little bit about wire. I have wee wire pack here. They're pre-cut wires and they were 75p at the range. So you could basically buy a pack of those and do a wreath and have plenty left over. And you can use, there's wire in shops. The floral wire is good because it holds really well and it's got the sort of plastic on it so it doesn't rust. And then there's a different type of wire. Just move this over a wee bit so you can see. I'm going to use some of this today. And this is floral wire. It's expensive. It's $5.99. There's loads of it. That'll last me about 3 years probably. But if you want to involve children in making wreaths, this is brilliant because there's there's less sharp edges, less likely to get any cuts or anything, if the wire goes into you. So that is brilliant for children, and it's very easy to work with. If you've any hand arthritis or anything like that, it's really flexible. So I'll be using both those wires today. So we tip. So whenever you get your wreath, whatever one you buy, whether it has wee pine cones in it or berries all over in it, just fine. I've just gone for the very, very basic one. And the first thing I'm going to do is put in a wee sign into it, which is a wee bit different. You see all sorts of wreaths in shops. And there's not many of them that have a wee sort of sign in the middle. So it's something a wee bit different. So just that wee bit. And so what I'm going to do is just sort of set that in. And I'm just going to wire it at the top. This sign's really good because you can sort of see it has wire on it already. It was about $3.99 at the range. And it actually has some wee holes in it. So you could use those for your wiring, and it makes it a lot easier. If you had just a sign that didn't have easy wiring points, you could use the glue gun and glue that in. So I'm going to use this as sort of a feature. I'm going to get a wee bit of my wire, and I'm just going to wire it in at the top at this stage. And that's going to be one of my focal points. So doing this slightly back to front. And the good thing about wire, like I say, is if you decide positioning is what you don't want. It's easy to change later. So that's the first thing done. And of course, I'm going to put a big bow on this, and that's going to go up at the top. And I'm going to fill in first. And then I know that this up the top is going to be my bow, so I can sort of leave that towards the end. And I'm going to use some baubles from Poundland, only because they're the cheapest one. You can go for nicer baubles, or these are plastic. And the good thing about plastic ones is, you know, if somebody slams the door, they're less likely to shatter and break. So the plastic are good. So I've used 4 containers, so that's 4 pounds worth. However, I wanted different sizes. So I wanted small, medium, and large, just to give depth and interest. So if you had baubles in the house that, you know, from last year that are years ago in the roof space, you know, you'd sort of recycle those and put some of them on rather than having to buy baubles. So I'm just going to put them in a wee bowl here so they don't roll away on me. And for this wreath, I'm going for my color scheme. So the color scheme is sort of a natural look with red and silver, and a bit of shine or a bit of glitter will draw your eye to it. So if you're doing a wreath for the door and you put, if you don't like glitter or shine, it'll be more of a matte wreath. But if you want to sort of draw the eye from the distance, a wee bit of glitter or shine is kind of a good thing. So I'm going to mix the baubles. So I have matte, glitter, and a bit of shine as well. So I've got 3 different sizes: the tiny, the medium, and the large. And they usually come in multi-packs. So you'll see that you've got your matte, your shiny, and your glitter all in one pack. That came from Poundland or Pound Structure, and they were £1. And then just add a wee bit of interest. I'm gonna introduce a different shape. And you can pick up wee different shapes, of course, in Poundland and all that as well. Just setting those there so they don't roll away on me. And that's what I'm going to be wiring into my wreath. So I'm going to work in 3s, groups of 3. One, because there's sort of a design kind of guide that if you work in 3s or 5s, it's sort of more pleasing when you're doing things. And also it's a bit quicker rather than wiring in each one of those separately. So take some of my wire, and all I do is add sort of 3 different ornaments on of different color and different sizes. And these plastic ones are actually quite good because they're less likely to come off. If you're finding these scissors, just cut those off there. Don't need that. And you just put that on your wire. And there we go. So that's a wee grouping. You can twist the wire slightly at the back just to hold them sort of more firmer in place, or you can allow the movement in them, which is kind of nice as well. And then you just take your wire and just take it around your wreath. So it's as easy as that. And then you just twist it around the back. So, so our rule of 3s, because that one's the prettiest, I'm gonna have 3 of those in the wreath. I'm just gonna sort of dot them around. So that's another little grouping of 3. And don't want them too uniform, so I'm going to put them in different places. Put one over here on the side and just twist that around as well. So you can sort of see how that's come together. And then done the same thing with just different shapes. And just gonna put those around different places, wherever you want them. You can put as many on as you want. I've only used about half of the packs. And I think that was enough. So in total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I put 5 groupings on the wreath that I was showing you as a demonstration, and sort of working back to front here, so it can be sort of hard to see what's happening. The good thing about the wire again is you can sort of shift it a wee bit, and it shifts really easily to position things. So about 5 of these, or 5 groupings of 3. So 5 times 3 is 15 little ornaments. So you can just see on the back, I'm just twisting. I've actually cut my wire too long. That's okay. I can trim that up later if I need to. So, and this can be adjusted later on. I can recess it a bit, or I can pull it out a bit, and I can wire it in better. So just cut a bit of this stuff here, which is brilliant. And like I say, getting kids involved, this stuff here is brilliant for wreaths and garland and all sorts of things. So do my last sort of fancy one. And let's see. Silver, just get the silver ones there, the bigger ones. So you can theme your wreaths. You can bling them up, you know, all silver. You can have the whole thing silver. You can have the whole thing gold. The sort of natural wood effect has become quite trendy. You may have noticed in shops, there's a lot of wood items that you can purchase. Really sort of a popular look at the minute. And you can use the greenery even to sort of place how your bits or your bubbles are shifting about. And I'll just leave that for now. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them in. And I know up here, I'm gonna have some eucalyptus and a bow, so I'm not too worried. So that's how it's sort of coming together at the minute. And just show you real quick. So we're halfway, sort of halfway there. I'll just show you once again the sample one. So you can just see how things are evolving. This one has pine cones. If your wreath already had pine cones in it, you could just leave those, but I'm going to wire some in. And a focal point is going to be up here around the bow. So I'm going to wire in some little eucalyptus, and that's sort of what we're going to do next. A bit of noise there.
A bit of noise there on Helen's. We have a question here for you, Kelly.
Okay.
Where did you buy your wreath at, and or even where could we buy them at a reasonable price?
Yeah, do you know what? That's a brilliant question. And I've done quite a bit of research around wreaths because I have a lot of requests for wreath making. So you know what? And I do think the prices have gone up this year. I really do from last year. So Poundland and those sort of pound shops, you can get plain wreaths. Now, to be honest, I haven't seen many below a $5 this year, whereas last year you could sometimes pick up one for about $4, you know. Now this is, what size is this? This is one of the bigger ones. You can get smaller ones cheaper. This one is, well, 40 centimeters when it's kind of fluffed out. You fluff out your wreath when you get it before you start adding things to it. You fluff out the wee leaves and stuff. Home Bargains and B&M. B&M has got very, very expensive this year. Home Bargains, I had ones for $7.99 that had wee berries and pine cones, and that was it, just a few dotted. And they were nice, and you could add more to them. But you know, your Poundland, pound structure type shops definitely are the least expensive. I know in the range, they have lovely ones that are a bit fuller than this with nothing on them, and they're £10. So, you know, big difference in price. So pine cones, you know, you can buy pine cones, a wee pack of about 8 or so for a pound at Poundland or Hobbycraft. You can get them for a few pounds, or you can go for a wee walk and pick some up. So I've done that, and then I put them in the oven for about 40 minutes at 150 Celsius, and I opened them up and then I spray painted them. So so once they're open up, it's just a case of sticking the wire through, and you know, you could just put those wherever you feel you sort of need a bit of filling in on your wreaths. And if your wreath doesn't have pine cones on it, if you go for the cheapest one. So, and that is easy. It's also something good to get the grandkids or the kids involved in, because get them out for a walk and get them, you know, picking up pine cones. And then it's kind of fun putting them in the oven and watching them open up. So your pine cones, and again, just with the wire, you know, I'm just going around. I'm not even wearing it to the base of the wreath. I'm just wearing a bit of a pine cone into some of the greenery. Wire that one a bit loose, but the tighter you wire something, you know, the closer in, the more secure it is. So I'll just wire a few of these, and then we'll keep going, because you can put as many pine cones in as you'd like. You can get, you know, spray paint, chalk paint if you want to paint the pine cones white, or that's just a wee bit of silver spray paint that's sort of been sprayed on them, just to give them a wee hint of a color. I actually burnt some of the pine cones in the oven, so they had sort of black ends. So then I thought, well, I'll just spray them a wee bit and tie them up. So I don't know if you can sort of see there, but you're just putting and you're just twist that, and really secure. And you can put that wherever you feel you need a pine cone. So I'll not put any more pine cones on at the minute, but I can add more later. And I'll move on to the greenery bit. So just wanted to show you this here. I think that's lovely, and I'm gonna add just a wee bit to each side to sort of bring the eye to the bow at the top. I think it just adds a wee bit. And that was 99p at Wise Buys. I think that's brilliant price. So when you buy it, it's sort of like that. And then what you do, you almost need wire cutters for this, but you can just keep working it. And if you have good scissors, or secateurs would be okay for this. But so what I'm going to do to get value for money, and this is going to be really good value for money at 99p, but I'm just splitting those up like that. And then I have wire cutters, so I'm going to just cut that. You hear that pop? But you see that there? Just cut that. So that means I have two lovely bits like that. And then I still have this. So if you push that, let's see, if you just see what way this is, you can get two bits out of that. So what I'm going to do, you can see, I'm going to cut down. So I've got another wee bit, you know, so rather feeling like I have to buy 4 of these, I've only bought 1. And you can shift those. You see how I took that up a bit? And you shift those sometimes and cut that. Some of them can be tricky enough. So I've ended up with another wee bit. And what I'll do is I'll wire those in once I have my bow. But you can see the sort of difference that makes. And you can, if you're going for bling, you can get in the likes of, oops, you can hear my jingle bells. Likes of Wise Buys and even Poundland have very glittery things, and all sorts of things. So these, one little thing like that is usually 99p or a pound. So you know, that whole stem was 99p, and I feel like it's sort of good value, but you could actually get 2 of those and you could incorporate those into your wreath if you really wanted the sparkle and like a shiny effect. So just gonna sort of show you where we're at with this, and just that wee bit. So I'm not gonna wire those in yet because I'm gonna do my bow, and I'm gonna set that aside, and I'm gonna show you how to do a bow. So you can see all the bits and pieces there that have come out of that. So you can make your own bow, and it's very easy. You can buy a bow. Now I saw bows at the range for $3.99, and there's ribbon at the works. I like the wired ribbon. So you get all sorts of ribbon that costs £1 for 4 meters, which is brilliant. Poundland have a wired ribbon for 2 meters for £1. The works, some of these came from the works, and one of them came from the range, I think. Wired ribbon is brilliant, and I'll just sort of show you how to do a really simple bow. And I'm going to use a sparkly one for this one. The good thing about your wired ribbon is you can shape it very easily. You can kind of adjust it. It keeps its shape. You can, you know, sort of play around with it. And it squishes down when you're storing your bow. But yet, like next year when you're getting your wreath out, all you have to do is kind of fluff that up, and then you've got your nice bow again. So I'm going to do this little bow, and then we'll see if there's any more questions, and then we'll finish off the wreath. So I'm going to do sort of a figure 8. So you've got your ribbon, and I'm going to loop, and this is going to be about 20 centimeters across, 25 centimeters across, roughly. You want a good size bow, I think, for your wreath. Your wreath is pretty big. If you have a wee dainty bow, it might look out of proportion. So let's see here. So you want your shiny bit. I'll just start over, just unravel this a bit. This one was from the works. It was £1 and it's 4 meters. That is brilliant. And you only need about 2 meters to make a bow. So I'm just going to take that off. So you do your first loop and then you do another loop. You see if you've got your shiny bit at the front. And then I'm going to loop over. Actually, I want this a bit bigger, but anyway. See, I've still got the shiny. So this one, I'm just going to loop under. So you're going to do 4 loops, sort of an under and over. And I'm just squeezing it together in the middle. And you want your pattern on top. So you're just having to twist it so you get the pattern on top. And then you go over. So that's 4 wee loops. And you can keep going. And I see that there's slightly one's bigger than the other. In terms of my loops, you can try to make your loops all the same length, but that's okay. I'm happy enough with that. So then I'm going to cut that off. So I have that and I'm still holding it. And then I'm just going to take a bit of wire. Just going to give that a good squeeze. And then you twist your wire to the back and as tight as you can get it. I'm twisting the bow instead of the wire, but what's happened is the wire is twisted. So once you have it at that stage, you can fluff it out a bit. Now you might see that's looks like a problem area there in the middle because the wire is there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take about 30 or 40 centimeters. I'll take the width of this and I'm going to fold it a wee bit. I'll do that first. Folded it so I can cover the wire. And I'm going to just tie it at the back. This is sparkly ribbon and it's getting absolutely everywhere. So you just like you're tying your shoe. You tie it around the back, kind of loosely, and you just have to fiddle around with it to sort of adjust it. So basically that's tidying up things a wee bit. And then you can just sort of make wee ends so that you have a wee bow with wee ends. And then of course you need to get your scissors and just sort of do it back to front. But anyway, it gives sort of the idea. So there we go, there's a bow. So does anyone have any questions, Louise, for at the minute?
I don't see any more questions there. Imelda had asked if they could get a recording so she could follow step by step. And yes, I am recording this at the minute. So when we're all finished, I will email everybody a recording. So if you want to have a go at it at home, you can re-watch it and pause at the bits you need to pause at and go back over the bits you need to go back over. Has anybody else got any questions?
Do you have a wee go at making a bow? Because buying it for £1 and you can just keep, like I would play around with that a wee bit, you know, and you just shape it. So if anybody has any questions at this stage, you know, unmute your microphone and work away and just ask it, and we can sort of cover things as we go along. But so I'm just gonna put this wee bow on here. So you remember I stuck the wire on it to hold it in place and then so I've got that wire, and what I will do is just put that sort of wire around the whole wreath to hold that in place. So I've sort of got it positioned there, and there's the back. And you know, the wire is brilliant. Oh, if I can find it now. Oh, there it is. So you just twist that, and I twist it 2 or 3 times. That's all you need, really. And remember I said that with the wire, always, it is brilliant. You can just keep pulling at that and shaping it and everything else. I'm sort of seeing that my loops were a wee bit off, but that's okay. So there's your bow. And you can sort of see, I didn't wire those in because I sort of wanted to see just what they would look like with the bow on. And you can adjust them, you know, pull them out. You might want one going up, put them in what that would sort of look nice. So just sort of play around with them. And then once you have them sort of where you think you want them, you might want a wee bit coming down. Then you just wire those in place. And just don't probably need to do that because you can sort of see the idea. So I would just get the wire, and you can just wire those into the greenery or into the whole wreath to the back of it with your wire, and just wire one of these down. And that's secured. I mean, yeah. And the good thing about the wire, as I keep saying, is you know, you might, it's always good to, you know, walk away from your wreath, look at it from a distance and go, okay, what needs change? What needs repositioned? And because you've got your wire, you can do that very easily. And you might want that behind. So for the most part, that is finished. I could, a few more things I can wire in, but in terms of making the wreath, it's as easy as that, you know, with your materials. And just to show you, put this up a wee bit. Yeah, so that's lovely. And I will show you the difference between the two. So you can sort of see red ribbon, sparkle, the sort of natural ribbon that's really in style as well. It's kind of that Hessian sort of type of ribbon. So your ribbon can really give you a focal point and a look for what type of look you're going for. And if you can imagine, you know, you could do a white ribbon, you could bring in white, you could have it all white and green wreath, whatever colors you want. You could have a big gold ribbon and go for a gold. And you don't have to put that in the center, anything at all in the center. So if that wasn't there, you would just bring in a few more baubles around the inside and pine cones. But because that's sort of a focal point, you don't need to do that.
I have a question, Kelly. If you wanted to put like a wee set of battery lights on it, could you just wrap them around that? At what stage would you do that? Would you do that at the end, or would you do it before you put the baubles on?
Do you know what? The Christmas tree, you know, most people do their lights at the beginning, and garland, this, you know, it's easier sometimes to do the light at the beginning, but for a garland, I would do lights at the end. And the reason why is I would sort of want to get the best use of my lights. I wouldn't want them to be hidden too much. So I do have a set of lights here. I don't know if you can see those.
Very handy. I promise you we didn't practice these questions.
But do you know what? These lights here, indoor, outdoor lights. Now, you can't really see them very good at the minute because it's a bright day.
They're
Um,
showing up pretty well there, actually.
so these are great indoor outdoor, and they actually have a timer, which I love. I've seen this came from Wise Buys, and I think they were $4.99. I'd have to just check, which is kind of expensive. But what I like about these lights is they have a timer, so they will come on for, I think it's 8 hours and go off again, so you don't have to worry. And it's water resistant. This is indoor outdoor. So I would put the lights on at the end only, because I think it's easier to work around, your decorations and sort of highlight things that you want highlighted. But you could do it either way. You could work it in at the end, or you could put those on at the beginning if you think it's going to be easier. If I had put them on at the beginning, they might end up being very hidden. So I would just sort of wrap them through and sort of weave them through and hide them a wee bit, and these lights, they don't go very far, to be honest. They're only given a wee bit of highlight because they're kind of short, and but you can definitely kind of see how they would add a wee bit, and see at nighttime they would be lovely. So I'm kind of doing this quickly, but you could spend time and just make sure they're all sort of hidden. And then what I would do in terms of the battery pack, I'd put that through to the back, and I would hide it, and I would probably just wire it in to the back somewhere. This one actually has like a little hook, so it's very easy to wire in. But if you didn't have one with a hook, so it's just a case of getting some wire and just wiring that in to the back so you don't see it. The only thing to think about, if you have lights that aren't battery time lights, you want to make sure you put it somewhere where you can sort of find it easily and turn it on and off. So you can do that, and that gets you sort of your lighting on it, which I love the lights.
Yeah, I like the lights too. That's why I was asking. And I was thinking if you put it on like your Christmas tree, then you wouldn't even see them, or they'd be in the way. So that's really good to see that you can put them on afterwards. I'm just looking in the chat here. Oh, Deirdre's just saying it's a beautiful wreath and an excellent demo, and thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Deirdre. Has anybody else got any questions? Just having a look across at the screens. Oh.
And I think wreaths are, everybody has their different color schemes. So of course, you can use any color scheme you want. Any sort of ribbon colors, you can go for your rustic. Now that's to show you that's out of proportion. If you put a wee bow on your wreath, that would be too small. So you want a nice sort of full one. So, and for kids, kids or grandkids, for an inexpensive wreath, you could even buy wee candy canes and leave them in their plastic, and you can, you could incorporate them in. A bit of fun for children, and you could wire in some wee candy canes as well.
Oh, they're lovely.
Yeah, I mean, kids would love that. So you can sort of incorporate a bit of fun into it if you have children that you want to get involved into it. And of course, in pan shops, you can get the wee bells, and then they're a bit noisy, but you could hang that from the center. And then whenever somebody's opening or shutting the door, it would probably drive you crazy, but you'd know who's coming in the house. So the possibilities just are endless, aren't they? They just go on and on.
I feel if I went shopping for the things, I might come back with enough to make definitely more than one. Thank you so much, Kelly. Has anybody else got any questions? I just want to make sure I don't miss anyone because I have you on my main screen. I need to scoot across the top here to check everyone. Well, that wreath is beautiful. I'm not sure I'd be able to do something just as nice as that, but we can give it a go. As I said, I have been recording this, so I will send a recording to everybody who participated, so that they can follow along and do it if they want to go out today or tomorrow and buy the bits and bobs to make it with. That hopefully you'll be able to follow the video. Thank you so much, Kelly. What are we doing next week? I've forgotten.
Oh, that's a good question.
Let me see.
I don't have my diary with me. It's either the lantern or the mantle decorating.
Let's have a look. What's today's? No, I've lost it. So we definitely are doing something festive next week, Kelly. We're definitely doing.
With me either. Let me see.
We're definitely doing something festive next week for anyone who wants to join us. I'd like to say as well, and especially for yourself, Helga, we are doing this for everybody, but just because I know that you're shielding, it's a mantelpiece garland next week. I find it. We are doing a wee coffee and a chat every Tuesday morning, and that's open to anybody who wants to join us for that. And that is literally what we're doing. We're having a wee coffee or a tea and just having a chat. And you know, it's for anyone, but particularly, you know, anyone who's just missing that being out and about and being able to have the conversations that we're used to having. So I think even when we're in the shops at the minute, you know, we're kind of busy trying to get in, get what we need and get out, and we're not even doing those social things. Most of us, even if we are able to get out. So coffee and chat on a Tuesday morning, we're doing the garland making next Friday. The Friday after that is the lantern making, and then we're finishing with an artificial table arrangement. So again, if you haven't registered for those, you do need to register for each of them individually, just as a wee reminder that just because you registered for today's doesn't automatically register you for the rest of them. So in case you don't want to miss it if you wanted to be there. Helga saying thanks very much as a super demonstration, and Maura said thank you, it's beautiful arrangement and a brilliant demo. So hopefully you all enjoyed that this morning. It's definitely got me in the Christmas mood because I haven't really been looking at any of those nice Christmassy decorations yet. So now I'm definitely inspired to give it a wee go. It looks all as that glittery, sparkly bow there is selling it.
Very eye-catching, isn't it, that one?
It really is. It's lovely. And I think we all need a wee bit more joy at the minute, don't we? So maybe the festive things is a way to go to get a wee bit of sparkle back in our houses if we're all going to be there a bit more than we were hoping. Kelly, thank you so much for your time. I just want to give one last shout out in case anybody's got any questions. I'm just checking the chat here. Yeah, just Francis saying that it's a lovely wreath. So everybody seems very happy with it anyway, Kelly. So hopefully everyone will be able to give that a wee go themselves. So said I will forward you on the recording for anybody who wants to follow it at home again.
Louise, I can send you a few photos of these too in case you want to put them on Facebook, because sometimes having a wee photo for people helps too.
That would be brilliant. Yes. Yeah, and for the participants for today, yeah, to have a photo to go, where did that go again? Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much. So look, thank you all for joining us this morning. Thank you, Kelly, for sharing your lovely skills with us, because certainly I am not blessed with these natural skills. So it's really great to see somebody take you through it, and we really appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us. So.
See everybody next week.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much, Louise. Okay, all the best.
Good to see you, Louise.
Yeah, you too, Helen. You too, Maura.
Bye.
Bye.